Well, welcome to Think Denton. My name is Kevin Roden. I'm here with Phil Kregel, who's a candidate for the Place 6 at-large position in the May 8th City Council election. Welcome, Phil.
Thank you.
To my attic.
Thank you, Kevin.
Why don't you start off by just telling us why you're interested in running for City Council?
Okay. Well, I feel that Denton needs leadership that will actually listen to its citizens. I feel that the citizens have gotten the short end of the stick and they're doing more rowing than steering when it comes to city matters. We're lacking in a lot of areas, being community awareness, retention rate of graduation of UNT and TW students. And I feel that if we hone in our resources and keep those future young professionals to stay here and invest in the community, buy a house, start a family, I think it will trickle down and the entire city of Denton will benefit from it.
Retention is an interesting question from the point of view of a younger demographic in town. What are your ideas to keep more of our graduates in Denton? Obviously, there has to be businesses in place for them to work at, but as someone working for City Council, what are some practical things you could do to help that?
Well, I like to think that we're in competition with other cities, just like Walmart's in competition with Target and Target's in competition, or Home Depot's in competition with Lowe's. There's a market. And our market is Louisville, Flower Mound, Frisco, Plano. Those are the ones that we're competing with. And for us to compete, we have to make Denton a more worthy place to for someone to start up their future. And with that, you have to bring business in here that people want to shop at. I like that the City Council approved of the transit hub that they're going to put in over off of east of the square. And what that will open up will be an opportunity for people to live here, but also work in Dallas, where I believe that's the closest job hub in the state of Texas. And if we can find those opportunities that want people to stay, like you said, businesses, retail, parks, aesthetics of the city, non-potholes, if we can, mitigate those problems that we face, then people like you, which we're lucky to have you here, but others say that will graduate here and want to go work in Dallas, they can stay and start a family here.
Mm-hmm. This isn't your first run around in city politics. You ran as a write-in candidate against Watts in the Place 4 election last year. Tell us about that campaign. Why is it that you came in as a write-in versus actually being an actual candidate?
Well, timing is everything. And my timing wasn't great. It was more of I did not think about running until after the date to file. And, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle being a write-in candidate. But I think it gave me great experience with the forums and meeting people that are affiliated with the city, getting a good feel of what the core people that vote in this town, what they want and need. And that's the good experience that I gained from last year. Mm-hmm. We only got about 70 or so votes, I think, which I thought was pretty good as a write-in candidate. Mm-hmm. And I didn't spend any money. But things I'm going to do differently this go around, we've raised over $700 on an online Facebook campaign. I've raised probably another $400 just from gathering donations from local citizens. And so we're going to take more of a professional approach. My website should be up and running this week. So we're going to be spreading the word better and getting out to more people, because one thing Denton is lacking is community awareness on local issues. Mm-hmm. Last year, only 1,700 people voted in District 3 and District 4. And that's less than 1% of the city. And when less than 1% of the city are the only ones making the choices, you're not getting a full spectrum of what the city actually wants and needs.
What's the demographic that you think you appeal to the most? Would you say it's a younger demographic in town that you'd be going after?
Well, there's traditional voters and untraditional voters. And the tough thing with untraditional voters is they don't vote. Mm-hmm. And for me to get out and reach out to them, the first step is registering them to vote. And my team, we've registered over 40 people, and 40 people isn't a large number, but when only a small amount of people vote, every vote does count. So getting untraditional voters to the polls is our main goal. I think I actually relate very well to older people because they see someone young that's excited about public service and that wants to do something that will benefit the city, and regardless of no gray hairs on my face, I'm not wet behind the ears. I know I've lived here all my life, so I've been able to see Denton grow from a baby town to a booming, I wouldn't call it a suburb of Dallas, but 10, 15 years from now, everything will be blended in because that's just how things happen. We're growing at such fast rates that we're going to be huge, and someone that has seen it grow in every separate stage and knows what we need to further enhance the city, I think that I relate to all walks of life.
It's interesting. You're right. There is a pretty poor turnout in Denton City elections, at least as of late. When you saw the national election come through in 2008, you saw a lot of college students, younger people get energized. Why does that type of energy not typically translate to local issues? And younger folks are all interested when it comes to federal type issues and national politics. What's the deal with local issues that they're not interested in?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. The turnout for the younger crowd was great in the primaries, but when the general election came around, those students stayed home. And one of the main reasons was because Barack Obama, being an energetic and persuasive politician, and that's great that to bring them out, and it helped his cause, but those guys didn't come back. There was a low turnover rate for voters, and that is very unfortunate. In local elections and municipal elections, the old cliche is think globally, act locally. Local elections are the closest way that you can speak out and change something that you want to be changed, because with our system, our federalized system, you can only do so much one person on to change the national scene, as tough as that is for me to say. But on a local level, 20, 30 people, that's a large volume, and we really need to take advantage of the influence that people my age have. Because with UNT being one of the top 3 schools in the state, and over 30,000 students go there, they impact the city of Denton greatly. And if we can work if the city can open up communication avenues and increase the way that we do things with North Texas and Denton, as well as TWU, I think we're only going to go up.
It's interesting you discussed this play between local and federal politics and how our involvement might change between the two. Your last campaign, you had a Facebook page that touted your conservative credentials.
Sure.
What do you think that means on a local level? We tend to know what that means when it comes to national politics and the issues. What does that mean on a local level?
Well, when it comes to local elections, ideology, I feel, is out of the... It shouldn't be a play. Party politics, partisan, whatever's good for the city, I think, despite your ideology. Now, my principles they're very sound. I'm not going to sway away from something that my principles hold. With my history in working in D.C. and working with the Heritage Foundation, I'm a conservative. But when it comes to localized policy, your ideology is out the window.
Gotcha. So you're not going to sit up there at City Council and there's not a left versus right wing of the council?
No, not at all. It's whatever's good for the city. Okay. And, I might struggle with voting on something, but if it's good for the city, then I'm going to do my part and listen to my constituents, and that's what I plan to do.